Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore.
I love Mirchi FM, it's so hot.
Deke me lala kai me hi. Tangi tau for me. Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singatoka love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva.
It's hot.
Mirchi FM, bon julum.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
In this bulletin, new proposed party applies for registration to contest 2014 elections. Fiji Airways posts $17 million profit for the first half of 2014. And residents question why Nabor was neglected for 8 years. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. Fiji's national airline carrier Fiji Airways continues to make historical achievements. This time, a record $17.2 million for underlying operating profit for the first half of the year. Akasi Tatale reports this is a substantial increase compared to the same period last year.
Fiji Airways Group has reported an unaudited interim result in operating profits of $17.2 million for the first half of 2014 compared to $0.5 million of the same period last year. This excludes the introduction cost of the first A330 in 2013 and the hard landing cost in 2014.
When we created and developed and approved our 5-year plan in December last year, this energized a lot of people because we know where we want to get. It's a growth plan, which was a financial plan, but it's also a growth plan in terms of more aircraft, more employment, etc.
The airline will continue to stay committed to improve transparency and credibility, not only at home, but for international financial partners.
Look at around us, there are a lot of airlines who are making money, and New Zealand is one. In Australia, it's a big disaster. If you look north, it's also not very exciting. Of course, we try to punch above our weight. We try to be very disciplined, very focused in our approach. We don't run after capacity and market share. We do what we can do best.
Pikla adds the airline pricing will remain competitive in the market and will continue to make investments in its customer experience. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
One of the questions put to the Fiji First political movement at their Navua campaign meeting has been the government's perceived neglect of the area. Chanel Sivan was at the Fiji First rally in Naitata Navua last night and filed this report.
The Serua Provincial Office Hall was filled with the residents of Navua. Close to 200 people turned up for the meeting. Despite the construction of a new hospital due to open soon, one resident had a major question for the party.
What you have actually done for Navua so far? Just leave the hospital aside, because that was a government aid, and what actually you have done for Navua? Because I tell you one thing, the roads conditions are very pathetic. The conditions are very pathetic. Those roads were made when Rambuka government was in power. Listen to me this. Now that have passed 14 years, the roads are like this.
We've raised it with Fiji Road Authority, and they have done the design, and that stretch will be done. I can't tell you it will be done next week. No, I'm not going to say to you, just because I'm Navu, I'm not going to make you a false promise. But I can tell you the plans are there in place to do it. Absolutely agree with you, there are roads that need to be fixed up. This is why, more the reason, and I'm glad you said you'll vote for Fiji First, more the reason why you need to have such a government in place again after the elections. Because we have invested a lot of money into roads in the past 2 years.
Party General Secretary Ayaz Syed Khayyum was not precise about the future of the township.
It takes them time to get the power line back to normal in Suva within a day or maybe half day. And where just opposite this road, 2 power lines fell down in Netata area. It took them 4 days. 4 days is a big time. Why people are neglecting Navua?
Because you need to have consistent policies in place, and that's precisely what we're doing. So you can be rest assured.
Questions were also asked about the plans to declare Navua a town.
Navua had been listed to be noted as a township. Now, so many governments came, gone. What is the plan for Navua with Bainimarama government?
You will be listed as a town, not now, but very soon. In the same way, Nandi should be listed as a city, because Nandi has really grown. But what we want to do, as we've seen in some other places where they have been declared a town, the town rates need to be calculated in a fair manner.
The 6 major issues the party is focusing on are the protection of the 2013 Constitution, protect the native land leases as stated under the Constitution, keeping Fiji a secular state, socio-economic development, equality and a common identity. The Fiji First political movement will be meeting again in Muaniveni Naitasiri tonight. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
The proposed activist People's Party today filed an application for registration as a political party with the Registrar of Political Parties, Mohammed Saneem. Proposed party leader Sairusi Waininima says they are confident they have the numbers to enable them to register as a political party. Waininima says the proposed party members are made up of representatives from the Ra province and Wainimbuka in Tailevu. He says the proposed party will stand to address unemployment issues, brain drain, and bring back a sense of belonging and security to the people. Prime Minister and Fiji First Leader Vorengen Bainimarama is hoping to visit New Zealand soon. He revealed his intention to New Zealand-based Radio Tarana.
There's a plan for me to come to Auckland. It depends if the New Zealand government can grant me a visa, and I'll come.
Bainimarama also revealed to soldiers at the Queen Elizabeth Barracks in Suva yesterday that he plans to travel to Australia. The Fiji Sun reports Bainimarama intends to campaign and not fundraise when he travels on August 8th. He will target Fijian voters registered in Australia. This will be Bainimarama's first travel to Australia since 2006 and the lifting of travel sanctions against senior government officials and military personnel earlier this year. Still to come on FBC News, Health Minister Dr. Neil Sharma stunned with diabetes statistics.
Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nen.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about bottled cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Police are urging the public to be careful with details of their bank accounts. The alert was issued after 2 students of Ndavui Levu Nausori allegedly falsified withdrawal slips and presented them to the bank to obtain up to $9,400. The duo fraudulently obtained money from a couple's joint account, obtaining financial advantage by deception between May and June this year. The suspects have been bailed with surety for the sum of $1,000 each and will be appearing in court in Suva on August 18th. Fiji Airways did not have a role in the suspension of flights as it is a disagreement between the two countries. According to the airline CEO Stefan Pickler, Solomon Islands' breach of ASA agreement led to the suspension of flights from Port Vila to Honiara. He added the two airlines need to talk to each other and the way of press releases is not right. Pickler added that the Fiji Airways has not suffered a loss after the suspension of its flights from Port Vila to Honiara.
Now talking business, not bad for us because Honiara, Port Vila, we just broke even, we didn't make any money. Now the fact that we don't fly from Port Vila to Honiara helps us to use another aircraft flying between Nandi and Port Vila. So instead of a 737, Boeing 737, we use an ATR 72, which lowers the cost.
Direct flights from Nandi to Honiara have been affected from this week. Health Minister Dr. Neil Sharma says he is stunned with the increasing number of diabetic patients in the country. While launching a support group known as Diabetes Fiji in Suva last night, Dr. Sharma called for a more responsible attitude towards the threat of diabetes. Shireen Lata reports.
30% of the total population, or more than 250,000 people, people are suffering from diabetes.
In the 1960s, the incidence of diabetes at that stage was 0.4% in the Itoke population, whilst it was noted to be about 8% in the Indo-Fijian community. What has happened? In the 90s, the figures went up.
Given this situation, the Health Ministry has established 3 hubs across the country to provide diabetic care at no cost.
These hubs serve to provide diabetic care, but 2 days a week, anybody off the street can come in and be screened.
The Health Minister says more hubs will be established at divisional levels in the future. Food care was also recently introduced, and about 14 nurses from the 20 sub-divisional hospitals are now able to address adequate care of the feet.
When you have diabetes, if you run around without footwear, you will end up with infection in your feet. And you will end up with, and if you leave it to the surgeons, then you'll end up with amputations.
Dr. Sharma reiterated that a change in attitude by the public is important in trying to reduce the statistics. He said that basic precautions need to be taken by the public. Sharin Lata, FBC News.
More Pacific Island countries are getting on board the Moore Guided by Nature voyage to help convey the One Pacific voice to the world. Voyage coordinator Colin Phillips says voyaging societies from Cook Islands, New Zealand, Samoa and Tonga have joined Fiji to help make the voyage to Sydney a success. Pacific Island leaders have pledged towards protecting marine areas, while Pacific Island communities drive local action to secure and sustain livelihoods.
Particularly the voyaging canoe is the reason why we're all here in Fiji. Our ancestors were very, very experienced voyagers who traveled thousands and thousands of miles across open sea to discover these islands, and it's not something that's really taught in schools. That we should really respect how much skill and knowledge our ancestors had, and use that to prepare for the future.
A number of canoes will be sailing together with the traditional voyaging canoe Utonialo for the IUC and World Parks Congress 2014. Sports now, here's Jamie with the latest, and I hear 3-on-3 basketball competitions will soon start in Fiji.
That is correct, Jackie. Fiji Basketball has introduced the shortened version of the popular game with competitions in various towns and cities around Vitilevu to start soon.
I understand you also enjoy the sport of basketball. Are you excited about the announcement?
Definitely, Jackie. I can't keep up with the full game, so
Obviously.
I think this shortened version should be to my liking. In fact, Jackie, earlier this year I registered with the Super Basketball League under the team name
I'm so proud of you.
Unfit Pistons. Our team name was the Unfit Pistons, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Anyways, find out more about Basketball Fiji's 3-on-3 competition after the break, as well as some insight on Fiji's chances at next year's Rugby World Cup. Details coming up.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore.
I love Mirchi FM, it's so hot.
Deke me lala kai me hi. Tangi tau me.
Mirchi FM is hot. Here at Rugby Town, Singatoka love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva.
It's hot.
Mirchi FM, Bau Julum Julum.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. The Flying Fijians have a tough task at the 2015 Rugby World Cup, being pooled with some of the top nations in the sport. Playing the likes of former world champs Australia and England, along with Wales, will be no easy feat for our side. However, 2 men who have donned the national jumper says nothing is impossible if the proper work is put in. Indra Singh has more.
The task of playing in the biggest event in the world of rugby will not be easy for the Flying Fijians next year. To take on the best in the world, it's all about preparation and taking the word impossible out of the team environment.
A huge challenge for us. I think it will make the trainers and the management and the coaches work hard too for the type of plays and for the type of type of training we should do before we go to the World Cup.
A former national rep says there are areas which Fiji needs to work on to ensure the best is delivered in 2015.
Well, the scrum, we know it is from many years that we've been playing for Fiji. It was I can say that it's our weaknesses. I'm not pinpointing anybody here, but it is one problem that hasn't been trying to be solved. But how can we do that? We are having only a few months to change.
Both men know what it takes to play the biggest games of their lives and are in tune with each other of what it means.
I think it's just attitude of the players. Sometimes you have like pressure, and that we can't hold pressure. That's why we give away penalties. Like the Europeans and the DC. They know as well if they want to make our temper go high, and then that's why they work on, because they know us Fijians very well.
But as for the long run, there's a lot of hard work we have to do, and I cannot speak a lot about that. But I'm very happy with the boys who put their body on the line for Fiji.
Coming from players who have donned the white jumper, the statements made does carry weight. Now it's all about putting it into perspective at the World Cup. Indra Singh, FBC Sports.
Suva Football will not let the protest filed against them affect their match against Navua in the Fiji Sun Skippertuna National League. The side has to deal with a protest filed by Mba, who claimed 2 Suva players, Iniam Boko and Abdul Mashim, were not properly cleared by their previous clubs in Navua. Meanwhile, Suva's Peter Rambo may be in doubt for the game against Navua.
As I said, it's a big concern, it's a big question mark. If he doesn't get well, then we got some other place. Waisake got a lot of experience too. I will be using him as midfield, or I might have to change some system of play.
Suva meets Navua on Sunday at the ANZ Stadium at 3 p.m. Meanwhile, the Mba Football Association has confirmed speculation that coach Yogen Dutt and manager Arvind Singh have been relieved of their duties until they appear before the Mba FA Board of Control. The two were this week asked to step down and front the Board of Control before a decision is made on their future. Mba Football President Rishi Kumar says they will comment on the matter at an appropriate time, but has clarified the duo have not been terminated. Basketball Fiji says the new 3-on-3 international competitions could suit Fijian teams. Known also as street ball or street basketball, it is a form of the game played 3-a-side using 1 hoop. There are plans in the pipeline to have Fiji represented in the shortened code, as Basketball Fiji believes they can stamp a mark on the world stage.
Most definitely. I think it's an easy opportunity for our 3-on-3 teams to play internationally compared to the 5-on-5, because it's a new event in the International Basketball Association, so the chances are bigger for us.
The Fiji Table Tennis Federation today secured sponsorship for its Business House competition. The competition that starts on August 7th will be sponsored by 3SA Carpets and will run for 9 weeks. Fiji Table Tennis says the tournament is part of its efforts to promote the sport and also get more involved. The federation adds business houses will get a chance to play and learn the sport and also use it as a social event. That was your sports for tonight. Good evening.
Mobile money service providers Vodafone Fiji and Digicel have signed a trust deed to protect funds customers provide in exchange for electronic money or e-money. A Reserve Bank of Fiji statement says the deed is designed to help protect mobile money customers against losses that could arise from providers' bankruptcy or insolvency, illiquidity, and other operational losses. Mobile money providers undertake to hold customers' funds in trust with strict rules to govern its operations. For every dollar of e-money created, an equivalent amount must be deposited in the trust fund held in a commercial bank. The Reserve Bank will also decide how interest from the trust fund will be applied. That time again, it's Weather with Trish.
Thanks, Jackie. Suva and Savu had fine weather in the morning, but later in the afternoon there were brief showers. As for the rest of the centers, Nandi, Lautoka, Ba and Lambasa had fine weather all day long. Temperatures today, Suva on 26, Nandi also on 26, Lautoka 27, Ba on 28, Lambasa 26, Savu on 26 and Lambasa 29. The temperatures tonight expected to fall to about 16 degrees in Nosori, Navua, Rakiraki and also Suva. Tomorrow's forecast, Suva and Savu with fine weather in the morning and scattered showers in the afternoon. Expect fine weather in Nandi, Lautoka, Ba and Lambasa for mariners south to southeast winds 15 knots and moderate seas. And to my favorite part, and this is the pictures segment today, we have a beautiful sunset captured by Vinal Kumar at the Malau Jetty in Lambasa.
Thanks so much for that, Trish. Before we leave, our top stories again tonight. Fiji Airways reports $17.2 million profit in first 6 months of 2014. Nabor residents question Fiji First about lack of development in the area, and proposed activist People's Party applies for registration. Now, on to our Fijians Speak segment. This is what some Fijians had to say today.
I prefer that they should build more factories in Lambasa, like youth like us can get more employment.
It's all about the land and the seas and about the young youth. So now the many of them are not working.
One thing that people of Fiji want is the cost of living is too much in Fiji. The devaluation of dollar should go up. And the money, the value of the dollar is very low.
You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. You can also find us on YouTube, FBCTV 2011, or on Instagram, FBCTV. And to receive the latest headlines on your mobile phone, text SUB space FBC to 777. That's your news for tonight. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, good evening.
Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about Batu Kola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.